Welcome to Frying Pan Farm, a park with a storied history of farming in western Fairfax County. The farm takes care of many different animals such as goats, cows, sheep, turkeys, ducks, and chickens. Today we will show a day in the life of a dairy cow at Frying Pan. To tell the story of how we take care of the dairy cows, we need to start at the beginning and discover how we get milk. On an ordinary sunny spring morning, a not-so-ordinary event has transpired. The farm was treated to the successful birth of a new baby calf. Here is our new mother cow, Marybelle, and her bull calf. Farmers produce milk from cows because their bodies naturally produce it to feed their newborns. Within the first few hours of birth, the bull calf can stand and nurse, and within a day he is able to run around the fields. We call the newborn a bull calf because the word bull means that he is a male, and the word calf means that he is still a baby. We call the mother cow because that is the word for females who have had a calf. Here you can see the bull calf sniffing underneath his mother, as that is where the milk is made. Next, we will follow a different cow's morning routine, Brandy. Here she is eating some grain out of the trough. Brandy had her calf several months ago and is in the final weeks of being milked by the farmers at Frying Pan. Early in the morning, before visitors come to the park, the farmer goes and gets Brandy from the field. She is eager to get into the milking barn because her body has been making milk all night long and it is time to get it out. Another reason she is eager to get into the barn is because this is when she gets her special morning breakfast, a mixture of corn and other small grains that are cooked in a sweet, syrupy molasses. We call it sweet feed. As she eats her sweet feed, the farmer begins the milking process by first washing off her udder and teats. The udder is the special organ that cows have that make milk, and the teats are the mechanism that let the milk out. She has 1 udder and 4 teats. He washes her off because she has dirt and debris on the udder, and when her milk is flowing, bacteria can get inside her, so it's important she is clean. Next, he shoots some test squirts of milk by grabbing onto the top of each teat and pulling it downwards. We do some test squirts before putting the milking machine on to make sure milk is coming out well and to make sure it looks correct. If the milk was pink or yellow, Brandy might be sick and we would need to call the vet. Does it look right to you at home? The farmer thinks so too. Since the milk looks good, the next step is to hook her up to the milking machine. The milking machine has 4 vacuum-powered tubes that are placed on each of her 4 teats. The machine applies gentle suction to each teat, which takes the milk out safely and quickly. Once they are all on correctly, the farmer turns on the suction and the milk begins to flow. Notice how stretched full her udder is. As the milk machine does its work, the udder will begin to loosen up and look more wrinkly. Before milking machines were invented, it would take farmers 15 to 20 minutes to milk out each cow by hand alone. As you can see, it does not hurt Brandy, and she continues eating her breakfast. Watch how the milk flows through the clear tube into the reservoir of the machine. The reservoir is marked with a scale measuring in pounds on the left-hand side and kilograms on the right. Dairy farmers do not measure milk in gallons, but rather in pounds. Look and see how many pounds of milk we have taken so far. 1 gallon of milk weighs about 8.5 pounds. She is nearly finished, and look at how much smaller her udder is. If you watch carefully, you will see the vacuum tubes moving as they suck from the front 2 teats and the back 2 teats. At Frying Pan, our farm staff always finishes cow milking by taking the rest out by hand. First, the farmer puts a big dollop of bag balm on each teat. Bag balm is a type of lubricant similar to Vaseline that dairy farmers use to milk cows. It has lanolin in it. Lanolin is a type of oil secreted by sheep. This makes the process of hand milking much more comfortable for the cow. We finish milking this way to make sure we get all of the milk out of her, as well as make sure that we do not leave the machine on too long. Leaving the machine on too long might hurt the cow. Before she goes back out into the field, she gets an iodine dip on each teat. This protects them from bacteria as the teats close up while hanging out in the field. Brandy's job is done for the morning. She ate some sweet feed, got her milk taken out, and now she can continue on with the rest of her day. Do you know how a cow spends the rest of her day after she's done being milked? Take a guess, and we are going to check in with Brandy a little bit later. Here's an idea of how she spends the rest of her day. Brandy's part of the milking process may be finished, but the farmer still has work to do. First, he is going to open up the machine and pour all of the milk into the bucket that he was already hand milking into. Wow, it goes up right to the top. Next, he will very carefully pick it up and weigh it on the scale. Our cows get milked twice a day, and farm staff keeps track of how many pounds were taken at each milking session. As you can see, we got 28 pounds, which is just over 3 gallons of milk. We keep track of the weight to make sure that the sessions are consistent. This is another way that the farmers make sure that our cows are taken care of properly. A lot of our visitors ask, what do we do with the milk once we are done? Let's take a look at what happens next. It looks like the farmer is taking bottles and dipping them in to fill up the milk. And he has a cup. I wonder who gets the cup of milk. Oh, it's Daisy the cat. Daisy looks a little shy. I don't know if she'll drink with us watching her. Let's turn our attention back towards the farmer. He is finishing filling up the rest of the bottles. Can you guess who would get a bottle of milk on the farm? There are still 2 large containers left of milk. Let's follow and see where he goes next. Do you have an idea of who gets extra milk today? The pigs! Here is a litter of very greedy Hampshire pigs. Hampshires are black on both ends with a white belt, kind of like a Oreo cookie. And here is another litter of Hampshires that seem to be much more well behaved than the first litter. Lastly, our Yorkshire sow, or Mama Pig, gets a big pitcher all for herself. She doesn't mind if it gets a little dirty as she puts her hoof right in the pan. Let's check back on Brandy. Here she is grazing on some grass. Cows eat a lot of grass throughout the day. In fact, they can eat as much grass as a whole bale of hay. How else does she spend her day? Here she is, sunning herself and trying to keep some of the flies off. Here she is, eating some more grass. Watch out for those blackberry thorns. And she'll shake her head to keep some more flies off, sunning herself a little bit more. And here she is munching again, and resting again. And back to eating, this time with the rest of her cow herd. And here she is laying down, having a sniff, having a scratch, and back to eating with her friends again. Cows spend a lot of their time eating and resting and laying down. In the afternoon, she gets to eat some more grain with the rest of the herd before it is time for her second cow milking of the day. This happens usually at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's watch as the whole process is going to go all sped up together. Do you remember seeing the bottles that were filled up earlier? They are for Mario and Luigi, our two goat kids. When the grass is not growing very well in the cooler months of the year, our farmer will supplement our cows with extra hay. Here he is quickly going up into the hayloft and throwing down a couple of bales. Here is Brandy munching on some extra hay at the end of her day. This is how we take care of our dairy cows at the park. We provide them with all of the food, water, and shelter they need, and in return they give us buckets and buckets of milk. Soon, Mary Belle will be our milking cow, and Brandy will take a rest. Once Brandy is pregnant and has another calf, then we will begin milking her again sometime next year.